B.J. Madsen, and welcome to another edition of Online. Today we have a very exciting show for you and an entertaining one. We're going to be talking to Dr. Dick Tapert and his band, Dr. Dick's Good Vibes. But first I'd like you to take a look at the opening song, One Step Ahead. Well, that was great. Let's tell everyone out there a little bit about yourself. Not only are you a very busy musician by night, jazz musician, but you're also a doctor, and you practice in holistic
That's right.
medicine.
I practice holistic medicine out on the east side of Detroit, and I had a busy life with two careers, as you say, practicing medicine and being a jazz musician on the side. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah? I bet it's very interesting. I don't know how you balance the two careers, but it must be very tough.
It's a tightrope walk.
Yeah. Okay, how long have you played with the band? Now, we did just see them.
Well, these fellas, Danny Spencer on the drums and Keith Vreeland and I, we played together off and on for 15 or 20 years. And I have another version of the Good Vibes with some other musicians, but Keith and I go back at least 15 or 20 years.
At least 15 or 20 years. Yeah. Boy, what a long friendship. Now, you wrote that song, didn't you?
Yes, I did. We call that One Step Ahead.
Do you compose also some pop songs too?
Well, I've written a few pop-type songs that never got popular at all, but I've written a number of jazz tunes also.
Well, approximately 12.
Yeah, 12, 15 jazz tunes that we use in our repertoire.
Yeah. Now, you started playing the violin when you were approximately 8 years old?
That's right.
Do you still play?
Studied violin as a child. I was 8 years old. My violin teacher was 80 years old, and he taught me a lot about music. He was a Detroit Symphony, retired Detroit Symphony player. And then I picked up the piano when I was in junior high school, and then switched to the vibes shortly thereafter, and been playing vibes ever since.
Let's tell some of the people out in the audience exactly what a vibe is, or
That's a good question. That's a good question. A lot of people, when I tell them I play vibes, they say, "What's that?" And it's much like a xylophone. It's a mallet instrument, and the essential difference is that there's a little vibrato, there's a little pulsator that creates a vibrato sound, a pulsating kind of sound, and similar to a marimba, but you have a more sustained sound because of the fact that the bars are metal, whereas a marimba, they're made of wood, and to sustain a sound you have to keep rolling, whereas this you hit.
What is a marimba?
Well, a marimba is very similar, except the bars are wood instead of metal.
Instead of metal.
Yeah.
Now, is it also done with an electric motor?
The electric motor gives the vibrato or pulsating kind of sound. It's not an amplified sound, although this instrument can be amplified if we need amplification for a big room.
For a big room. Now, are acoustics very important when you're playing with this?
Yes, yeah, acoustics are always important.
Yeah. What other instruments do you play?
I play the piano a little bit, but basically I'm a vibraphone player. The instrument, incidentally, is called a vibraphone or a vibraharp or a vibe. They all synonymous
But it has
terms.
nothing to do with the harp, with
No,
the
not
strings
really.
of a harp.
No.
Okay. If you had your choice, and this is something I was thinking about, I know it's going to be tough to do both careers, which is be a jazz musician and also a physician. If you had to make a choice between one or the other.
Well, I have a great love for both careers, and I've managed to keep them both going without having to give up either one.
That's great.
I get my creative instincts satisfied through my music, and I'm very much into my medical career too, and
well, it's very demanding,
dedicated to that as well.
And we'll be able to hopefully bring you on another show and get a little bit more into the holistics.
Yes, I'd like to do that.
Yeah, that would be very interesting, yes, especially for a lot of people out there that don't, know what it is.
That's correct.
Okay. Some of the other things that you've accomplished, you've, traveled, done concerts?
Well, I've played the local concert scene, the local club scene. I played the Montreux Detroit Jazz Festival a few times, and most recently, this last one, I played in the band with Keiko, who I understand was on your show
yes, she
recently.
Was. Oh, what an interesting woman. I mean, talk about beautiful music.
Yeah, good pianist,
yes,
pianist.
Very nice, too, very nice, and interesting to talk to.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Who else have you played with?
Well, I'm real proud of these guys that I'm playing with right now. Danny Spencer's one of the most popular drummers in town. He, when the Montreux Festival comes to town, he usually plays with 6 or 8 different bands, and he's everybody's favorite drummer.
Yeah.
Danny Colden's about the same way, the bass player in this band. He's very popular with all the different musicians in town. And Keith Vreeland and I go way back. He's an excellent pianist and also a professor of industrial design over at Center for Creative Studies.
Yeah. So did you guys you and Keith actually start the band then?
Well, more or less. It's actually my band. Keith plays with a lot of other groups too, as these other guys do too.
Now, is there any place you guys are playing currently that the audience out there?
Well, not real steady. I'm doing some playing at the Gnome over on Woodward near the Cultural Center. Played there Saturday night, and I'll be doing some Saturday nights there over the next few weeks.
Now, you're going to be playing another tune for us, right?
Yes, we've decided we're going to do a ballad for this second tune. I'd like to play a tune called A Time for Love, written by Johnny Mandel.
Great, great. Let's take a listen to Dr. Dick Tapert and Dr. Dick's Good Vibes. A very romantic tune, very slow and very nice to listen to, easy listening. Now, who influenced you? Who are some of your all-time influences, musicians that you enjoy listening to?
Milt Jackson has always been my favorite vibist, and he's best noted for his work with the Modern Jazz Quartet, a group that enjoyed popularity for 25 years or so, and there's some recent vibe players who also influenced me to some extent, Gary Burton and Bobby Hutcherson. I've always been into the music of Miles Davis and John Coltrane and Sonny Rollins, and those have been my main influences. When my peers, people my age, were listening to Elvis Presley. I was listening to Miles Davis.
Yeah. So did you grow up on that? Did you?
Yeah, I've been listening to jazz
Background?
since just after high school.
Did it have anything to do with your parents at all? Did they bring you up?
No,
on music?
definitely not. My
No?
dad, well, my folks were very musical, but they had nothing to do with jazz. They didn't even like it very much.
They didn't like it.
No, but my dad was, in his spare time sang operatic type music, and I would accompany him sometimes on the piano. And so he was very much in favor of my playing music, but jazz was definitely not his thing.
No. So where did you study? Did you start young, or where did you study at school? Or?
Well, in terms of learning jazz, it's sort of a process of osmosis. You listen a lot, and when you get your confidence up, you start playing with jazz people, and you learn from other jazz musicians. There's a fellow named Jimmy Stephenson who was quite an influence on me early in my career, learning about what improvisation is all about and how you build melodies out of the harmony for a particular tune. And Jimmy's still around. He taught a lot of us local jazz people here. And nowadays there's some jazz is taught in the colleges quite a lot, and there's specific jazz schools, Berklee School of Music in Boston. And,
I heard that was a very good school.
Back when I was learning, it was more or less just a
Tutors.
process of learning from other musicians.
Yeah. So it was more
keeping your ears open and jamming with the boys.
So you did it by ear then?
Well, it's not strictly true. I mean, you're studying the harmonies and you're studying the rhythms and so forth, but there's a lot of improvisation involved, and in that sense is by ear.
Now you played in the Montrose Festival in Detroit.
Yes, I've played a few times there.
Now, does that come every year?
Every year, Labor Day at the end of the summer. Big event here in Detroit.
And a lot of jazz musicians get together?
Yep, all the jazz musicians have work that week, and then the week after that, they're all on the streets again.
On the streets again. But you get to go back and be a physician.
That's right, yeah.
Very sturdy job. Are you planning on traveling at all outside of Detroit?
As far as playing, I don't have any plans other than just to continue what I'm doing, playing a bit here and there.
Now, do you have any records that you brought out currently?
No, I've not cut any records.
Yeah, have you thought about it? Or?
Yeah, I've talked about it. I've got some plans in the works for doing something, but haven't done it yet.
Yeah, because I think that would be great for the people out there that would love to hear your music all the time. You know, we've only heard 2 so far, and they're gorgeous.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. I don't know, your outlook on... How do you feel about some of the jazz musicians that are out there nowadays?
Well, I really like the old music a whole lot better than most of the new music. There's some new music that I do like, but most of the jazz now is what they call fusion. It's a mix of rock and roll, a lot of electronics and so forth, and I really like the older stuff better myself.
Yeah, so Kenny G's Kenny G's beautiful though with the sax. He's really
there's
great.
definitely some good music going on now.
Yeah.
I'm still an old timer, I think.
You're still an old timer, so you actually don't play any of the current stuff that's out there right now?
Not really any kind of fusion music. But we do play Latin jazz, and that's what we're going to do now. We're going to play jazz samba.
You're going to play a Latin jazz song, huh?
Yeah, this is called St. Thomas, and it's written by Sonny Rollins, and it's a good fast jazz samba that we always enjoy playing.
Oh, it was really a very honor to meet you, someone that has such a busy career in both, and 2 talents.
Well, it's been my pleasure.
So we're going to be listening to that song in just a few moments.
Okay, thank you.
And we'll be back with Dr. Dick Tapert and Dr. Dick and the Good Vibes.
Hi, I'm Sarah Gorman, one of the hosts of Online. And you can watch myself and great guests on Channel 11, BCTV, Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. And remember, that's Channel 11, BCTV, Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m.